Welcome everyone to the Everything Show episode 320. I am your host Matrix Lord 212. I'm with John. What's up, John?
Not much. I am way past my bedtime, but it's good.
Me too. Mike D. What's up?
I love Jesus.
That's good.
Me too.
You should. All right. Vil?
Oh God, this is Sal Rosenberg. Oh, I slipped and I fell down the stairs, and my mother threw a pan of hot grease all over my chest and neck and ass, and I can't walk anywhere. I can't find my slippers and my glasses. Oh Jesus, I can't see, damn it.
That's
Very
all.
good.
Or
All right,
that.
so we have the Star Wars trilogies on Blu-ray.
Star Wars.
That's right.
Yeah.
How much is it? Like what is it, like $69.99 for like 3 of them, or?
Well, it's funny you should say that, yes. I was in Best Buy earlier today, and it is $69.99. So,
For just 3, though.
no.
All of them.
Yes.
Interesting.
I would say hold out. Hold out.
Yeah.
See what Disney's going to offer. You know, this is going to get re-released and
Yeah,
re-released.
but how long
Oh,
is
this
it?
is not from Disney? This one?
No. It's the
Oh.
one that just came out, like, what, a year, 2 years ago?
Yeah, yeah. And these things haven't even been remastered. They're not mastered in 2K. They're very old masters. You know, let's see what
Okay.
Disney's going to do.
Well, Greedo shot first in the one that's out.
Han shot first. If Han doesn't shoot first, I'm not buying it. So.
Yeah, but you guys have got me back on Star Wars.
Uh-oh.
Like,
Good.
I grew up watching Star Wars like all you motherfuckers did,
That's right.
And-
Mike's got the sickness. Touchdown.
and I've been like influenced by watching this show and
Good.
Joe's podcast. I actually have felt the inclination to go back and watch the Star Wars whole series.
Whoa.
So
Wow.
because like I'm feeling a bit nostalgic, I guess, but.
That's a good thing.
And I like Star Wars, actually. It's not that I dislike it, but I guess it lost its, like, flair to me.
Well, the
So-
prequels kind of gave people bad taste in their mouths. A lot.
Yeah.
And I went to the prequels, like, on opening night, and I saw them, but it was kind of like, you know, when they were done, like, okay, yeah, that was cool, exciting, a lot of shit blew up and things like that, but I wanted to revisit the series in
Right.
light of the fact that the new movie's coming out. So
Well, nothing beats Star Wars Empire, you know, and Return of the Jedi.
so what's better? Star
Empire
Wars?
Strikes Back.
Really?
Well, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Jedi,
No. One film, Star Wars or Empire?
Empire.
Empire, of course.
Why is that?
Because it was one of the first, I don't know if it was one of the first movies that it ended where the good guys didn't win. It was like the bad guys were like the main threat, and all right, they would just the heroes were trying to pick up themselves up from the dirt and just, all right, we kind of lost this one, but we gotta like try harder next time. It was like an outlook. They're not dead, so they have an opportunity to defeat Darth Vader and the Empire was rising. I mean, they were ready. They were like powerful. How the hell are we gonna beat these guys? So they got to like regroup. They just had, you know, Han frozen in carbonite. Luke lost his hand. He found out that Darth Vader was his father. He was traumatized, but you know what? He didn't die. He's alive. You know, as you breed, you continue to breed, you can succeed. So, you know, keep trying again. That's it. So, you know, he became a Jedi Master, and they worked out a plan in the next one with Jabba the Hutt to get Han back, and that's it. I mean,
Did you like Jedi with the Ewoks and all that shit?
I hated the freaking Ewoks. Why are we going like the Muppets all of a sudden? Like, to me, I would have rather seen Chewbacca's race and, you know, the Wookiees in it than the Ewoks, because it would have been more 7, 8 foot tall Wookiees and stuff would have been really cool. I mean, these little, I kind of felt like, what is this? I mean, this is the time where we saw Muppet movies. We've seen, everything from Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, all these different things, and now all of a sudden we have something serious like Star Wars Empire. And then from Empire, where it was like totally serious, you have these little furball Muppets, and I'm like, I don't understand what the F. And then Han Solo had nothing to do in Jedi, so they just totally underused his character, and I'm like, I just, and the Emperor really, what did he do? He's like, all right, he just talked and zapped him a little bit. If you're a friggin' Emperor up the whole damn thing, I mean, the problem is that, like, they should have never went backwards to prequels. They should have went forwards, okay? Going backwards, of course, he's going to change stuff from what he originally wanted. He's going to kind of screw things up. And that's exactly what happens. He screws it up where now he's got to change Star Wars Empire and Jedi. And he's got to make the dialogue between the Emperor and Darth Vader like, how is that possible? Because before, Darth Vader was talking to the Emperor in Empire, and he wasn't, like, questioning Luke Skywalker, because at the time it was like, now you go back and you do the prequels and it gets all screwed up. So I didn't like this whole symbiont bonding crap with the midichlorians garbage.
Well, you do realize the midichlorians weren't, and I have to defend this one, the midichlorians were not the Force, it was just how people were able to connect to the Force. The Force is still a separate thing. My issue with the prequels was the fact that they didn't really do any sort of decent character development. Had they done decent character development, I would say that they were actually really good movies. But it was the failure, the absolute utter dropping of the ball in developing these characters and making them believable that was tragic.
Jar Jar Binks was like the destruction of that movie.
It was obnoxious, but you know what? We lived through the Ewoks. I could live through Jar Jar Binks, especially if they would have set it up for the Emperor to fry his ass with Force lightning.
Right, but I do got to say, the best Jedi battle ever was Darth Maul, Ben Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Speaking of which, you saw the original X-Men movie, right?
Yeah.
You know who played Toad, right?
Yes.
Okay. In that movie.
And he did that scene.
Okay. Well, the very first time, forget the little reference that he made, the very first time that you saw Toad on screen, I looked over to the person to my left and I said, "At last we shall reveal ourselves to the X-Men. At last we shall have revenge."
That's right. And he just said recently that he'll get in shape, he'll get ready for Darth Maul to come back in, because they said he was alive in Clone Wars, so he'll come back in future movies if need be. Well, wishful thinking. I thought that's going to happen, but
that was Ray Park, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we do have Darth Vader returning as the main villain in Star Wars Rogue One, with a young Princess Leia, a group of rebels, I guess, stealing the Death Star plans. So that's going to be amazing to see Darth Vader and, the Emperor, I guess, and the Empire and Star Wars, the whole thing, battling. There's no Jedi, so it's just like regular people battling these guys.
Have you watched any of Star Wars Rebels?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't want to give you too many details, but you can forget that whole "there's no Jedi" thing. There's still some.
Oh, okay. See, I thought that the whole thing was when Star Wars started, they revealed that Darth Vader wiped them all out.
Wipe them out. All of them.
Right, and the only people that were left was Ben Kenobi and Yoda. That was it.
That's how it was supposed to be, but they've come along and they kind of borrowed from that expanded crapniverse that they finally banished and said, "Oh, well, there's a few Jedi out there." And so Star Wars Rebels is basically about a captain of a crew, and the captain, who is kind of a Han Solo type, is actually a Jedi.
Right.
And he gets a Padawan, and there's a character, I won't say which one because there's a few mystery characters, but one of the characters in this will get revealed to be Ahsoka. So what's his face that really liked Ahsoka? If you ever got to watch Rebels, will find out what happened to her if he watches through the whole series.
See, what the whole thing is,
last
Ben
episode.
Kenobi, Yoda revealed to Ben Kenobi that, you know, like Luke's that boy's the last hope, and like, no, there's another, which was Leia.
Yes, and the Jedi Padawan in it is exactly Luke's age because he's 15 years old, born on the very first Empire Day, which is when the Empire formed.
Wow.
So that literally makes him Luke's age right down to the day.
What I find interesting is that Leia's going to have the Force and a Jedi in this one.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to say this. I don't care how many times they call themselves Jedi. They're Force adepts with some badass training, but they're not Jedi. They have relationships. They're not space monks, so no, they're not Jedi. The Jedi are gone. They're not coming back. They're
well,
dead.
Anakin was married. And
Yes. But at least Anakin went through all of the proper trials. At least he learned the damn code. At least he wasn't supposed to be married. Luke's not a Jedi. He didn't get the years of training. He got a crash course, and he just happened to be so powerful in the Force that he was able to do well until the Emperor kicked his ass. So
Right.
yeah, he's no Jedi.
Oh,
And it's funny to me how, you know, seeing the prequels now, and you see him battling Yoda, and he's leaping from, you know, thing to thing, then you say, well, wait a minute, you know, he's leaping around like that.
Oh, you know, my Viagra I took, powerful it makes me.
No, but I'm saying he's leaping around, so, okay, Darth Vader throws him. Why couldn't he just use the Force to land, just like Ben Kenobi and Anakin on jumping from the spaceships in space, like the you know, and then Mace Windu gets thrown out the window and he's
Well,
supposed to be dead.
okay, you think about this. Yoda's a bastard, and I'm going to absolutely ruin Yoda for everybody, because if you get right down to it, he's a coward. He takes some Force adept bastard child of Darth Vader who has no experience and no training, gives him a crash course and tells him, go fight the Emperor, you will, while hide on Endor, I do. Or not Endor,
Dagobah.
Dagobah, thank you. Yeah, hide on Dagobah, I will. And he sends out this schmuck to do what really can't be done by some schmuck, whereas he's actually powerful enough to possibly be able to fight the Emperor. If he needed help, then you know what? I could see him having Luke go with him, but sending Luke by himself, he's a dick.
I'll explain why he did that.
oh,
The dick. I just
There's a
explained.
whole purpose why he did that. Sometimes you don't put all your eggs in the basket. If he goes with Luke and they both get killed, there is nobody to train any Jedi. So because there is another, he waits behind on Dagobah.
Right. But here's
And
the thing.
if he has to train Leia, he trains Leia or somebody else.
But this argument ruins itself because he waits behind to send somebody else that doesn't have the decades of training to go and basically get killed. So if he's smart, this is the case where you do put all of the eggs in the basket, because the Emperor is not somebody that you send someone who's not even worthy of being called a Padawan.
No, but he can't. He's protected in Dagobah because the Force is blocked for them to see where he is, because something happened there that caused a disturbance that they can't sense. So the moment he leaves Dagobah,
he's protecting himself. He's not protecting
no,
Dagobah.
but it's not just that, because the moment he leaves,
Dagobah, he's like, oh, it's a swamp. I don't care.
no, but the moment he leaves, he can't. The whole thing is he has to train people. Okay, so he has to have a backup plan if Luke fails. He has to be left behind. He has to find a way to reach Leia. He could train her or whoever. Okay, so he's staying alive. He's much older now, by the way, than he was. He's staying alive to train Luke and a backup plan. The moment he leaves Dagobah, they sense where he is, and they'll come gunning for him. So he has to stay there.
Okay, you know, if the Emperor could hide in front of a bunch of Jedi Masters, something tells me that Yoda could go, shrouded I am. See me, you do not.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, the Emperor didn't sense him walking into the hallway until he came in and bitch slapped his guards right in front of him.
I know. That's true.
oh.
So it comes right back down to, yeah, Yoda's a dick.
All right. So Bill talked me out of watching the Star Wars franchise now.
Jesus
Oh.
Christ.
They are good movies. They really are, but Yoda's a prick.
The interesting thing was Mace Windu and his group were kind of a bunch of jerks because they wouldn't make Anakin a Jedi master or whatever.
They wouldn't make Anakin a Jedi Master because he was still too brash, and he was a young guy. He was a dude in his 20s with powers. Stop and think about this for a minute. They were wise not to make him one. Also, Mace Windu was the only Jedi who was an actual Jedi, not fallen, but dark side user, because he was a weapon master, and they trained him how to channel the dark side back at dark side users. And he knew that he couldn't train Anakin in that style because Anakin basically would have lost himself to it. So he really was not a dick. He wasn't like Yoda, who goes, unprepared you are, but throw you at the biggest badass in the galaxy, I will.
Right. I gotcha. So now, what are we going to expect from Star Wars Episode 7? Leia's the Jedi?
Well, I can tell you one thing that we can expect, since Lawrence Kasdan's involved. It's called good writing.
Yeah.
A script that doesn't suck.
Yes, that's true.
Character development. Everything that basically the prequel should have had that would have taken them and made them great movies.
Yeah. And he's right, isn't he?
And
The next one, too, or no?
The prequels are still worth watching. Especially if you get somebody like that rare person that's never seen Star Wars,
Yeah.
Start them off with the prequels, because you know what? They're probably going to sit through them just because of mindless entertainment, and they'll still get the backstory of what's going on, and then when they get to 4, 5, and 6, which are better movies, they will have that bigger picture of what's going on, instead of having them watch the really good movies and then make them go back and watch the prequels that would have been good if they had better writing.
That's how I have my kids watch it, because that's the way I thought it should be.
Yeah, I also think that stories should be told in chronological order when you have them that way.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike D?
Sounds like Yoda's a pussy.
He is. He's a very powerful pussy.
We were talking the other day about the powerful villain. We were talking about how Darth Vader was a powerful villain for 3 movies, and how somebody brought it up that because we had inconsistency with villains like Darth Maul, then we had Dooku, which I freaking hated.
By the way, I want you to stop and think about something. Do you know that the name Dooku is a pun?
Yes, because yes, I know. He did that for Dracula, right?
Yeah, Dooku, Dracul, yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
That's Lucas for you. I mean, I like puns and all, but damn it, make them good.
And Cloud 2, Barada, and Nick 2, to me, 3 characters based on the old science fiction.
No.
Taylor stood still.
Yes.
You mentioned battles, and I have to tell you about this. Have you ever heard of a group called the New York Jedi?
No.
They're basically, I saw them in Philadelphia. I was at the Philadelphia Comic-Con, and I found out that they're run by people that are martial artists and fencing experts. Now
they perform.
Now, here's the thing. I used to fence, but this because my dad was actually an Olympic fencer at one point. But when I say that I used to fence, understand that I was like 5 years old at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I went up to talk to the dude, and as I was talking to the guy that ran it, he let me check out the lightsaber that he had, and the second that I tested the balance of the sword, he looked at me and he said, "You fenced." And I was floored. I said, "Yeah, like 30 years ago." So he had me get in and, at no charge, just go in and practice with some people. Now, I'll tell you what, against anybody that's currently practicing, yeah, I haven't got a chance. But when I was practicing with the people that were the real noobs, I was stomping their ass because I still remember the basics. I was floored. And what was funny about it was because, I was trained in the basics, just the basics. I don't claim to be good anymore. But come on, I was 5. I was never good. But the very basics of fencing, it was basically the style that you see Dooku using in the movies.
Right.
And then, when I was a spectator watching one of the shows that they were putting on, at one point, the Jedi knocked the blade out of the Sith's hand and had the blade to the Sith's throat and was backing him up, and I went, "Good, kill him, and do it now."
That was the coolest thing. The Emperor. I never agreed with the there's only two though, which made no sense, but to me. But
Well, the Star Wars role-playing game, I had an Ewok Sith Lord named Darth Sanguinus. That's just a funny thought. The Ewok Sith Lord.
yeah, hopefully we don't see more Ewoks this time around.
You know, I wouldn't mind seeing an Ewok if it was an evil bastard throwing lightning out of its hands.
God, when all we got after that was Ewoks Battle for Endor and Return to Endor or something, and the stupid Christmas special. God, and the records with the planet of the Hoojums, whatever the hell they were, dying for like sequels or prequels or something at the time. We just didn't get it. I had faith though that I would see it eventually. I've always had faith when I was like, oh, we're gonna see 6 more. I always thought it was gonna be that way.
Yep, a lot of 8-year-olds were finally proven right.
Yeah.
It took us to be 38 to 42-year-olds.
I kept saying it. I'm
proven right.
Care. The time period. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be 6 more. Yeah. Yep, I knew it. So, about you, John, what do you have to say?
I don't think Yoda was a pussy. I mean, I just I see him as the old Grand Master, whose time is almost up.
Right.
And there's kind of the changing in the guard, and so Luke is that. Is he going to go to the good side or the bad side, and then the final confrontation, the whole thing, the whole story with Darth Vader. I love the films.
Well, wait, Luke.
Yoda likes to say, if so powerful you are, why leave? Well, my response would be, if you are so powerful and not pathetic, why are you hiding away in a swamp?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, Yoda.
He talked a bunch of shit, and then he got his ass handed to him and went to send a little boy to do his fight.
Oh, shit.
And I don't understand Joe's theory that, he had a backup and he had to stay there and get the backup with Leia because, Luke runs away in Empire. He's not ready yet, but he already confronts it. But in a way, he is ready.
No, my point was, Bill was asking why he didn't join Luke.
Well, but no.
And I said...
But that doesn't make sense because in Jedi, he dies. He goes into the next state of existence. Not really dies, but as a Jedi, he goes into that. So obviously, he's not going to train another Jedi. He's not going to train Leia. It's just his time to go.
But he did tell Ben Kenobi when Ben Kenobi said that boy is our last hope. He's like, no, there is another.
That's just a hook. That's the hook at the end of Empire. Say, oh, there's another. That's just a hook. That's to keep the audience going. What was that mysterious hook?
Well, not only is it hook though, but it's true because if Luke does die, who's going to train him?
There you go. Yoda's a pussy.
No, but if Luke does die, who's going to train the new Jedi? Yoda would have to. He's alive. Ben Kenobi's dead. I mean, that's
Yeah, he's not going to train anybody.
But I mean, how do you not know that there's some other Jedi like Ben Kenobi that's not in hiding that they wouldn't have found?
Well, I thought we established that Darth Vader killed everybody.
Well,
we did.
Obviously
play around with it.
Yoda's still alive. Kenobi's still alive.
That's how I thought was it, though. 2 and 2.
Well, you know what? Vader's fucking wrong, right?
We never know. We'll find out, I guess, and what they're going to do these other movies too. There's possibility. We get the Darth Vader trilogy that there's been rumored to take place between Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars. We're just supposed to hunt down all the rest of the Jedi.
So do you think that with Disney having Star Wars now, that it's going to become watered down, or do you think that it's in good hands? That's where everyone is.
I can't answer that unless I see 7.
Well, that's why I'm saying, do you think?
It appears that it's in good hands, but again, I have to see 7 to make that determination. Because if 7 is, to me, crap, then already the mistakes are there. So.
But I mean, like with Disney, I'm afraid that they're going to concentrate on like marketing with like toys and all that shit. Do you think that there's really going to be a really like cohesive story with what's going on? Or are we going to be watching like an extended commercial to go out and buy your kids' toys?
Well, here's the thing, okay? They paid, what, $4-5 billion for this franchise?
Yeah.
You have no idea how much they're going to make from 7. 7 alone, with the action figures, the T-shirts, the whatever, they'll probably make that back just with one friggin' movie. This has secured Disney's position.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's marketing genius that they're going to be so loaded with Star Wars, with Marvel, that they should technically never be ever going bankrupt, or they have bought everything. They have bought the Muppets. They have bought everything they can get their damn hands on. Okay.
So the question still stands. Does that mean that it's going to be creatively good?
Yeah, if it's going to be creative, fulfilling it is be crass.
It has to be creatively good.
Why?
Because they have to make back their investments.
Well, you know what? A lot of movies have to make back an investment, and then they still suck. Now
but this is Star Wars. It's different than.
No, Joe, wait. Just don't let me finish it. Don't cut me off. That being said, I'm really not expecting these movies to suck. From what I've seen, I think that it's going to be really awesome.
Me too.
Yeah.
I just don't base that on they have to make a return on their investment, because how many movies have bombed in history? They all had to make a return on their investment.
No, but in this case, not everybody in history spent almost $5 billion for one franchise.
I think Abrams is going to do a better job with Star Wars than Star Trek.
Yes. Jar Jar Abrams, I don't like the guy. I think that the movie's going to be good because of the likes of Lawrence Kasdan writing and because of the amazing cast that they have.
Well, he wrote Empire.
I don't think that it's going to be because of Abrams. Now, that being said, maybe Abrams will surprise. I'm expecting it to be a good movie despite shitty directing.
Well, Abrams is doing the last one, 9, so. Yeah, he's taking a break and then he's doing 9.
And 9, but he's not doing 8.
He's not doing 8 because he's doing other things like Twilight Zone and other stuff. So.
Yeah, maybe he's directing a movie from his bedposts.
And Locke's coming back probably too.
Oh, Connor's here.
The cat.
Hello.
Hey, Connor.
What's up, bro?
Nothing much.
Just talking Star Wars.
Alright. Yeah, well, with Abrams, with Abrams, like, who knows? At the end of the new Star Wars film, like, all of the lead characters might go down on a Star Destroyer and wake up on an island somewhere.
Yeah.
And like a mysterious island, so to speak. So.
Okay, there we go.
Like they're lost or something.
Yeah. So, you just woke up, Connor?
Yeah, well, it's 9:15 here.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, I'm glad you're awake, Connor. I got a computer question.
All right. Well, technically, if it's 9 there, I guess we could. I can't do another Chicago podcast or something.
Oh, come on. We're talking about Star Wars. We can continue this. I'd like to hear what Connor has to say about it. We were trying to figure out if, like, Disney having control of the Star Wars franchise is a good thing long-term or not.
Right.
I think it's a good thing.
Disney made Jaws.
I think it's a
Jaws.
Did they?
No, that was the Universal picture.
Yeah, that's not Disney.
I think it's a good thing because obviously Disney have a lot of. Well, they now have a control of a lot of brands like Marvel, and they kind of they kind of know what they're doing, I think.
So would you like to see Disney take over Doctor Who, Connor?
No,
Why not?
because Disney is American, and Doctor Who's not American, and also I just think that Disney is a bit too big for Doctor Who in terms of like Disney don't really control as many TV shows, and it's more like theatrical cinema
Yeah.
stuff to Disney.
And
And
I
just-
happen to agree with you. Yes.
Yeah,
But I got some bad news for you, Connor, because Disney XD has purchased David
I know.
Tennant. Access.
which
Oh,
is
no.
pathetic, to be honest, because it
Wow.
Disney
It's the
XD is
beginning
a
of.
thing, and Doctor Who is like shouldn't be on a kids channel specifically. It should be on like BBC.
That's going to be fantastic. Watch and see what happens from
On
David
top of
Tennant.
Like you get a fucking double bill of Phineas and Ferb, and then you get fucking Doctor Who.
Well, don't be too surprised if you get to see David Tennant in a movie. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I would rather see David Tennant than Robert Downey. I mean, come on. You gotta have a previous Doctor. None of this bullshit with Robert Downey or Johnny Depp. Come on.
I'm calling David Tennant in a movie written by Russell T. Davis. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen.
I'd rather see that than Robert Downey or Johnny Depp, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I would actually, yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather see like something that would tie into the show, either in the past or currently, with a past or current Doctor, than some fucking asshole actor that they throw in there like to put a name on the matinee sign. I mean, come on.
You put David Tennant in a movie written by Russell T. Davis with a companion, past companion, and David Tennant's career will skyrocket.
Do you think that would really take off?
Absolutely. Trilogy, yes.
Do you think David Tennant could get people in the seats?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't
That's
know.
his best
I
work.
don't know. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many ways you could do a Doctor Who feature film. I think the from the Sony leaks that came out a couple weeks ago that was compiled by WikiLeaks. It talked about how Sony. I don't know if you guys have talked about this on the show. How Sony approached a lot of people in BBC management. And the plan is that on like a 7 to 8 year plan for the Doctor Who brand, they have a theatrical film planned, but the staff, the writing staff, the showrunners are against it. So it's basically kind of a war of wills there at BBC. I don't have I mean, I personally, I think a standalone film could work with a new Doctor, an old Doctor. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not the kind of diehard fan with the investment of a Connor or Mike, but just as me, it's kind of more of I'm more of a diehard fan of Tom Baker, to be honest. But the classics. But yeah, I welcome it.
So who would you cast in this hypothetical situation with a new Doctor?
I don't know. I think you could go with a new face or a fan favorite. I mean, David Tennant. Get him on there. I mean, my God, he should have been the Doctor. I mean, just based on popularity, he had a couple more years. This whole ridiculous thing that you can only have a Doctor do 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's some kind of constraint that it's not in line with reality. So yeah,
David Tennant should have stayed.
Yeah, David Tennant should have stayed. We should have right now had the Matt Smith era at this point. I don't know.
So what about like a future Doctor, if they did go that route, rather than Tennant or Smith or Capaldi, and they did like a Doctor that hypothetically came from like some future era, and he was like Doctor number like 238.
I don't think that could work.
I don't either. I don't want to see
Not at
that.
all. I don't want to see
At
that.
all.
I don't know.
This is the thing. If they don't go with like David Tennant, I agree with Joe. If they don't go with Tennant, who right now is the most popular doctor of the new Doctor era, yes, then I'm afraid that what they're going to do is that they have really two choices, and if they don't go with Tennant, they would go with somebody that's like some matinee like name on a billboard, and it's gonna be like. It's going to be like the 1996 film for TV all again. Like Sony with Doctor Who, that's got like shit written all over it. They're going to fuck it up.
I'm going to tell you that Disney XD, if you didn't think they watched the episodes to decide what Doctor they're going to choose, think again, because they did. And the best marketing potential to start fans off on Disney is David Tennant. They definitely didn't start. So
that was irritating.
That's Disney, and they decide David Tennant.
Well,
I'm willing to bet money that you put David Tennant as the Doctor with strong companion, whatever, in the movie, and it's a trilogy easy. I'm talking like $600 million, $700 million making, and then people are like, he'll be like, oh my god, because his career will be like through the roof.
Let's see what Vil thinks about that.
Okay. He proposed, like I said, right after, just a little bit ago. I don't know if you guys heard me getting all pissed off, but my computer basically locked up. If I ever find the assholes that programmed the spyware that infected this thing, I've cleaned it of everything, and basically I have to do a whole Windows 7 reinstall, and I can get my disk back.
No, we're talking about David Tennant. Yeah, Mike D. Tell.
What about Mike?
Yeah. What we were talking about, Phil, the Doctor Who film that's proposed sometime within the next several years, and we were talking about if they would go with like a doctor like Tennant, who is a very, very popular doctor, or if they would go with like a off sort of actor for like a one-off film or trilogy.
Oh, no more one-off actors. We don't need another Peter Cushing type movie. No, absolutely hell not. It would be cool if they might use one of the classic Doctors, and maybe one of the Doctors, including the current that's been in the series since it came back in 2005.
So that would be Tennant, right? Would you think that or not?
It would be really good to see something like David Tennant and Colin Baker together.
But would they put Colin Baker in a movie, you think?
Really? Absolutely not.
No.
I don't see that either.
I would...
You know what? The time differential could explain him being fat.
Yeah, but they wouldn't put Colin Baker in that. What do you think, Connor?
Colin Baker is an amazing actor. Dude, if they listen to something that
I love Colin Baker. It's no slight against him.
In terms of would like bringing the audience, I think Whovians-wise, David Tennant is your best option because that will bring in the fan base.
And I'm not saying not to bring him,
Yeah.
Bring him in there, and you get someone like Colin Baker in there as well, and actually have these two different Doctors and have some, time-wide problem that requires more than one incarnation to handle.
But I don't think they would actually go with like two Doctors because it would be too much for like your like average moviegoer to understand the whole concept.
They gotta start off with Tennant and then get used to it.
They would do something like bring Tennant in and have a standalone adventure that could become a trilogy. I would think, because you already have Tennant, who's already grounded himself in the fan base as being like super popular. So that would win people over who are pre-existing fans, as well as like the new wave of fans that would come in to see that. Because
the problem that I see with doing that, though, you're going to have a whole new round of fangirls crying that he's not in the series.
Yep, exactly.
I think that you should. Personally, what I want is I'd like them to bring back David Bradley as Hartnell. Because in An Adventure in Space and Time, he was amazing. He was like the closest to Hartnell I think anyone's ever got in a TV documentary.
And you know what's funny? I just want to point this out. Before that was even a thought, about David Bradley taking over, like for the role of William Hartnell in An Adventure in Space and Time. We were watching on the Rick Movies cast the Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, where he appeared in the trailer.
Yes, and I thought I thought that it was William Hartnell. I'm like, whoa, they have the first.
Right. We all said that, and lo and behold, decision was made. Everybody agreed that. So then they're like, hey, let's cast him as William Hartnell. But if he never appeared in Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, you would have never had him. They would never chose him as William Hartnell.
Yeah.
By a freak thing.
I can't think of a better voice actually to play Hartnell than David Bradley. It was just the perfect casting.
But Connor, they would have to use like somebody like Tennant if they're going to do like motion picture on Doctor Who, because no one knows who the fuck William Hartnell or Bradley is. They would have to go with somebody that's a fan favorite. And see, like Joe pointed out earlier, Disney right now, XD, right?
Yeah.
They're doing the Tennant era, correct?
Yes.
Because
and of course, Love and Monsters is not part of that. They picked and chose.
They didn't want to show the blowjob stone.
They picked and chose what they were going to show, and they're not going to show crap. That's
By the way, that should be the alternate title: Doctor Who and the Blowjob Stone.
Oh my god!
But if you think about it, like Tenet is like the perfect candidate for that film if they do that, like soon.
Yeah. Would it not be impossible though to have, say, David Bradley as William Hartnell and then David Tennant together? Because then what you're doing is you're appealing to both of the.
You can't, because you have to introduce David Tennant.
It's too
Okay,
confusing.
you're trying to poo-poo this whole thing, but as long as they've got their David Tennant in there's no reason that they couldn't. There is none.
Well, actually, both of you have very good points, but I don't see them doing that.
No, I'm not saying that they will do it. I'm saying that they should do it and that it would work.
That would appease the fanboys.
The second
like Cop
movie,
Crash.
the second movie or the third movie, maybe you'll have a different companion and it'll explain his other incarnations, and then they could show David Bradley in,
I don't see them
in a back sequence.
See, okay, you know what? There's a lot of convoluted shit in movies. They don't really need to go set up for 2 or 3 movies before they show, oh, he had these other incarnations. They really don't.
Hey, Albert.
Stupid as the Americans are, and as probably the public and the rest of the world is as well, there's really nothing that says that they can't do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. But I mean, will they do it? No. They're not going to do that because they got David Tennant. That's the name. That's the popular doctor. Boom, right there. They're gonna put him in like some nondescript storyline, and they're gonna have their film right there. Like they don't want to confuse it. They want to like put it out there. They're gonna have like somebody like Tennant because he's a fan favorite. He's the guy. Everyone wants to see him again. All the fangirls want to see him again. All the fanboys want to see him again. They're going to go to the theater and see David Tennant. I'd pay to go tomorrow to go see David Tennant again. I miss his doctor. Everyone would,
I do think that if there is a movie, I'd definitely have David Tennant in there.
Yeah.
But I just think it would be great if they could also have a second Doctor that's from the classics to kind of bring in the whole of the demographic that there is in the Whovian fan base. But obviously, it is likely that won't happen. So I would say probably, just Tennant on his own.
It's likely that it won't, because frankly, I'm expecting any Doctor Who movie that they do to be a piece of shit anyway based on history.
Yeah.
But the fact is, they could do it. It would appeal to that fan base, but the best part is it also would not turn off new viewers. There's literally no reason not to do it and plenty of reasons that they should do it. Again, I'm not saying that they will, because I do agree they probably will not.
We were just joined by Jacob and Albert and Chase. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Okay, so
we were talking about the Doctor Who movie, and if they should go with somebody like Tennant in the role and do like a standalone film, or if they should go with like a unknown sort of actor or a known actor to play the Doctor, like in a future incarnation.
In my opinion, they should go for Capaldi, but if they can't do that, go ahead with Tennant.
Yeah,
So you
Tennant
think-
would be good.
You think Capaldi would actually do better than Tennant as far as
Yes.
Okay, explain.
Well, Capaldi's a better Doctor, and he's the current one. They could tie the series and the movie together.
No, because that's suicide. That's where it gets into. Because when you start doing that, like, I would always choose Capaldi over Tennant, but for a movie, I would choose Tennant because he's got so much behind him. He's got fan favorite pretty much. You know, he's easily the most recognizable Doctor. To the current, you know, Doctor Who viewership, you know, casual viewers, maybe not so much die-hard fans because obviously they're aware of the history of the show. You know, like if ever anyone said Doctor Who to someone who had either watched it a few times, they'd probably always say that they saw David Tennant.
Yeah.
You know, he like covers so many bases in terms of like the viewership that I don't think that you could really pick Capaldi because not many people are. He's like one of his qualities. I think Capaldi's qualities is that his Doctor's not quite as loved just yet. Like people hate him, and I think that's a good thing because I think when you start getting a Doctor that you know is insanely loved, like a Tennant, it starts bordering on overrated. But I don't think that Tennant was overrated because I think he is a fantastic.
I wouldn't say people hate Peter Capaldi's Doctor. I would just say that Peter Capaldi's Doctor wouldn't be best for a movie because, like, yeah, I get what you mean, Connor. Like, David Tennant, totally agree with you. David Tennant's Doctor, like, would be best for a movie because David Tennant, solid down, is my favorite Doctor too. And I've got to say, like, maybe they could, if they did do a movie with David Tennant, like Doctor, they could possibly have it as when David Tennant's Doctor, before he regenerated, they could make it as like a missing time or something. That would actually be pretty cool to see. Like, the 10th Doctor have a missing time and, like, go on an adventure that we haven't seen before because, like, that would be cool to see in a movie, if you know what I mean.
They really have three options. They can go with somebody like Tennant, who very clearly is the forerunner for, like, being a previous Doctor that would bring people in the seats. And then another option is having a completely new actor playing the Doctor, some incarnation that we have yet to see. Or we could have Capaldi, who's the current Doctor. So we have to weigh the benefits versus the drawbacks with those. And I lean towards Tennant. I mean, I love Capaldi. In fact, I like Capaldi more than Tennant. And I love Tennant, but I think Capaldi's got, like, a lot more... I don't think Capaldi has actually been utilized to the fullest degree of what he's capable of doing as an actor.
I agree with you.
Not yet, anyway.
Series 9 will be his best.
Yeah, I think there's far more to come from Capaldi's Doctor.
Yeah, Series
Yeah.
9 would be good.
And I think, like, with using somebody like Tennant, it would be good because as far as, like the fanboys, all of us would love to see Tennant, the 10th Doctor, come back in a film, you know, a whole new adventure. And we would be familiar with revisiting this Doctor, and at the same time, he would be popular with the general public. Whereas Capaldi would be, you know, one of the things with, like, the older show, the classics, we have to admit, you know, some of us old guys that watched the old classic series, those guys that portrayed the Doctor, they weren't like the cutesy hipster-looking guys like David Tennant. You know, they're like John Pertwee, Baker. These guys were very distinct-looking, but they weren't like the kind of matinee idol type people that, you know, would be like on the matinee sign that would bring people in the seats, you know. So, like, that's where Doctor Who fared better on television. But I mean, Tennant actually is one of those guys that can actually jump over and cross over into film, where if they had a Doctor Who film right now that I would tell you was coming out this summer, would all of you guys go to see that with David Tennant?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I would too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think plot-wise as well in a film, something that you could logically cover. I think in the
Time War.
yeah, it's the Time War, because there's so much like cinema potential there, because it's such a big epic thing, and like what they did in Day of the Doctor visually with the Time War, I thought was brilliant. You know, for such.
But they should have showed more.
Yeah, they should have showed more, and I would have liked to have seen the whole story of the Time War. Perhaps when Gallifrey is found and it's all sorted out.
Connor. Connor. Or you can have where it's with John Hurt.
No, you need to have it with. I think you need to have it with Tennant revisiting the times, because John Hurt's not that well liked.
I think that if they did something with Tennant, it would be more of a sort of like Spirit from Space, sort of a cinematic sort of story that's like encapsulated, and they would have like a Doctor that we recognize, like Tennant, and it would be a standalone sort of film / episode that would fit in with the pantheon of what we have with the franchise. That would not exist outside of that, but would actually go to like back up the mythology of what we have with the franchise.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Well, I agree.
I mean, really, like out of Eccleston, obviously, who probably won't come back. But I mean, we got Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi. I mean, do we see Smith doing a film?
I definitely see Smith doing a film after David Tennant does a film.
So we could. So you're saying like we could do like a trilogy with like Tennant, Smith, and then Tennant and Smith in the third film?
Well, they had proposed with their time schedules filming movies that they came up with this whole scenario, Matt Smith and David Tennant, that they could do some type of story together, episodes that Moffat rejected. So being that Russell T. Davies threw his hand in a movie possibility to write the script, yes, Russell T. Davies would do that, and would throw Matt Smith in there after David Tennant blew away the box office with the first Doctor Who movie. They would introduce Matt Smith probably in another movie, and then have like a multi-Doctor thing probably connected with Peter Capaldi, I'm sure.
Does anyone have the viewing number for Day of the Doctor in the cinemas worldwide? Just out of curiosity.
I don't have them right now, no.
Well, what was that?
Does anyone? I was just asking if anyone had the viewing numbers, like how many people went to go see Day of the Doctor in the cinema worldwide.
Well, my thoughts were if they were to do like Tennant and Smith, like the fans are already aware of the fact that there is a Tennant and Smith Doctor. So if they did that in that trilogy of films, that would fit in well because they already saw them in Day of the Doctor. So it would make sense. They're already familiar with them.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. I think that you need to have, like... Although I don't like Matt Smith's Doctor, like... I think that you need to have, like... Although I don't like Matt Smith's Doctor, like... I
got to tell you right now, they're going to completely Who if they cast some... and I like Robert Downey Jr. I like Johnny Depp. They're gonna.
Fine, I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy, but I for my language, I'm just gonna say I'm really staunch about this. They're really gonna screw it up if they do like a film like that. You know. I mean, like, how old are you, for example?
12.
So, like, who is your doctor?
Tenet.
So, like, but would you go to a movie? Like, I'm 40. You're, the age you are. You go to the films. You go to see, like, Doctor Who. Would you love to see Tenet come back?
Sure.
Okay. And what would you think about somebody like a totally new actor playing a totally different doctor?
That would be horrible. That's
and
not going to happen. If it happens, it's going to ruin the show.
So what do you think that, like, if they did a film next year, do you think that would hurt the series with Capaldi if they did a film with a doctor that was not a pre-existing doctor that we've had in the franchise?
Yes.
And why is that?
If it's out of the continuity, it's not going to work.
So if they had, like, Robert Downey Jr., the guy playing Iron Man, playing, for example, like the 208th Doctor, would you swallow that, or would you think that that's crap?
That's crap.
There you go. I agree with him. I mean, Tenet is like the obvious choice. They really need to get Tenet back. If they're going to do a film, they need Tenet. I mean, they do. If you're going to go with the three choices, a pre-existing doctor, a totally new actor, or Capaldi, it has to be a pre-existing doctor or Capaldi, as far as I'm concerned. And unless you're going to do a film that ties in with the series, then you're going to have to go with David Tennant.
David Tennant's the choice.
Yeah.
And he would carry it into a trilogy where they could have little elements in each movie to build up to ultimate threat like Omega, or something to tie in the classic Doctors.
Just know Justin Bieber as the Doctor.
Now, here's another thought. Is Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, going to be in the theaters?
Probably.
Yes. Yes. Keep in mind, guys, this is the Everything Show, and we were talking about Star Wars, and now we were talking about Doctor Who movies. So we're going to stick with the Doctor Who for now. But
yeah,
we don't always talk about Doctor Who on. Yeah.
This is a good topic. We need to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a full house in here.
What do you have to say, Jacob?
Well, if they do a Doctor Who movie, get David Tennant. That's
It has to be David Tennant. It won't work with anybody else at all. It will not work with anybody else.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think it would. I really don't.
The person who started is David Tennant, and then you would have to have Matt Smith at some point in time. And
well, actually, here's a thought. Here's a thought. You know how would Christopher Eccleston's Doctor say? Would Christopher Eccleston actually say yes to a Doctor Who movie?
No.
Oh wow.
Well, that's a good question. Would he come back for a film, Joe?
No.
People have been debating whether he'll come back for something like Big Finish, because.
But wait a minute. Why wouldn't he come back for a film? That's different than a TV series. I mean,
because the people doing the film are going to be directly tied with the show. It's not going to be Stephen Moffat, but I'm telling you right now, if they do a Doctor Who movie, I'm about 80% positive it'll be written by Russell T. Davis and have something to do with Russell T. Davis. So
and Eccleston's had a problem with those people.
There was some type of issue, yes.
Well, actually, Eccleston, I believe, is still friends with Russell, and he has huge respect for Russell. It's just three other particular individuals in the BBC hierarchy that he had a problem with, and that made him leave. Right. But in terms of him saying no to a film, I just think he wants to kind of get away from that now.
Well, you know what? You know what? I got the best trilogy here. Tenet, Episode 1, Episode 2, Tennant and Smith, and then the final part of the trilogy, you've got Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, maybe with Capaldi also. To round it out.
That would be good.
And you could do that. And Eccleston would come back. Come on, man. Give me more.
I agree.
Because you know what, the first film would be a huge hit, and Eccleston would see that and go, "Hey, this is my chance to be like a big like movie guy, whatever." He'd
Yeah.
come back.
But again, Capaldi probably wouldn't appear because Moffat would be against it, and Moffat's allowed to say to Peter Capaldi, "You're not allowed to be in the film."
And that's okay. So we'll have Smith, Eccleston, and Tennant.
But again,
I mean, seriously, like out of the six of us,
it probably would not be Eccleston. It would probably be Paul McGann.
Oh my God, no.
It probably
No,
would
not
be
Paul
Paul
McGann. I'm
McGann.
guessing.
Paul McGann won't return.
I
It
reckon
probably
Peter,
would be Paul McGann.
I'll bet money that Paul McGann won't return. Ever.
Peter Davison would.
Don't beg Albert because she's going to come back one day. I'm telling you.
yeah, but you could have like the whole film trilogy could revolve around Gallifrey coming back and Omega. There you go. Damn.
Yeah.
And the Ronnie too.
John wants to say something.
Oh no, I mean I kind of agree with Mike on this. You know, not a lot I have
If
to
Smith
add.
appears, you could find a hidden story that nobody was aware of. And of course, you could throw in Karen Gillan and Arthur Darvill to finish off, you know, where they were sent back home or something, and it was all a plot device to just put fake things on the tombstone. You could tie up River Song as well with Matt Smith in a nice little package there. And you could also even throw in, what's his name in too? The guy from The Lodger. Craig.
Pardon.
Yeah, Craig.
James Corden.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about him, let's be honest.
No, they like his two
It
appearances.
was okay.
They like
No,
his two appearances.
So irrelevant to the
Yeah.
to the story.
All right, guys. As much as this cast is going great, I do have to go to sleep. It's like 4:30 in the morning almost. And I actually have to do a show early in the morning.
No, come
Come
on.
on,
Sorry,
man.
guys.
Come on.
You
I
can
have
do
to go to bed. I can't.
10 more minutes, man. We're
No.
we're in a great cast here, man.
about
Come on.
I have to go to sleep, dude. It's-
Connor waited and finally came in here on this cast, and you're going to cut him off. Come on, man. 10 more minutes.
Dude, I'm not. I can't. I'm dying over here. I'm just gonna fall asleep.
He's like,
And
wake
I
up.
still-
Jeff.
I promise Louis.
Go on mute, and we'll continue talking.
I can't. And I promise Louis we got to do the show. So I got to wake up for that. So
I
all right, guys. Good night, guys. Take care. Bye for now.